Okay, to continue. At school, in most schools, a period of 40 is 45 minutes long, followed by a 15-minute break. Chinese students do not switch classroom between classes. Oh, sound familiar? Um, if you remember, right, the school days are much longer, but we also have more breaks because we need the breaks, right? And especially there are also nap times, right? People could go home to eat. All right, popular pastimes for teens in China. Chinese teens engage in various pastimes such as karaoke and go to the night market. Honestly, though, nowadays, I think most people really do stay inside. Most teens that I know, they yeah, they pretty much are just on their phones or playing video games all the time. So pretty similar to you guys. There are also, of course, ones that like to do sports and like to do activities as well, or other indoor and outdoor activities, or even playing some instruments sometimes. They think they do that too. Morning in the park. Many people like to get in groups to do Tai Chi, dance, meditation, not medication, or even bird walking in the morning in the park. Newcomers are welcome to join in for free. People to Tai Chi in the park. If you have been out and about, actually in town, I don't know if they still do that, but last I heard, people would actually do park Tai Chi in the park, right? I think at Tamaquas or somewhere. So yeah, it's very, very common. And especially, it's just good to stay active, right? So even if we are in the pandemic right now, you really should try to go outside if you can, even if it's just like to your garage or to your backyard, right? Or to your front yard, or do a stroll, run to the nearest park or somewhere, right? Of course, being safe and, bring your mask with you just in case, but you really should try to get outside and breathe that fresh air and get that vitamin D, right? It really, really does help you, promise, because I'm speaking from experience. Like, I have definitely noticed that with the pandemic, I really need to go outside and I have to breathe in and absorb that sunshine. Okay, 绘画，餐厅里您好，你要点什么？请给我一个汉堡。好，请问您喝什么？你们有没有果汁？有，大杯还是小杯？大杯一共多少钱？汉堡4块5毛钱，大杯果汁3块5毛钱，一共8块钱。给你10块钱，谢谢。不客气，找您2块。So again, I'm going to skip a lot of these parts. Look at those pictures. Oh, look at that. Okay, 好。文化复习 Culture Review. International food and drink franchises in China. You can find most popular international restaurant chains in China such as 麦当劳、肯德基、星巴克和赛百味. I will tell you because I have told you last year, I personally love eating fast food places in other countries when I travel because they just taste different, right? And the menus are different, and it's like a way to get to know the local culture too, right? So I think it's fun. Okay, Chinese tea culture. Teas are classified as black tea, green tea, white tea, yellow tea, and dark tea. When drinking tea, people like to eat certain snacks. Okay, usually it's maybe like peanuts, some kind of nuts, sometimes like seaweed things. It can be oily stuff because when you drink the tea, it actually helps with digestion. So, all right, another reason why we live forever, right? Or we live for a very long time. Tea house. The development of a dim sum culture gave birth to a branch of tea house. Lunchtime for Chinese students. The schools provide caterers to cook for all the students. At lunchtime, students line up for lunch with their own utensils. The food is diverse and prepared according to nutrition guidelines. And if you remember last year when we did the food unit and I showed you like the school lunches in all different countries, right? 中国, Taiwan, I mean Asian countries, we're up there in terms of like how well we prepare school lunches. I mean, I miss and love the ciabattas that we have as well, but and I do crave actually the chicken and the fries sometimes too, but I can't eat that every single day, right? I think that our school, I know right now we don't have lunch that's provided, but we've been pretty lucky in terms of our selection actually. When I was growing up, I definitely did not have that many things to choose from. It was like, like square pizza days, right? Um, or like, just your typical tater tots and fries and things. Okay. The differences between Chinese and Western food. Chinese food is almost never served raw or rare, um, except, of course, with the recent rising popularity, right, with all these other types of non-Chinese foods. But traditional Chinese food is usually not raw, it is usually not rare, it is usually not cold. It is very, very uncommon for Chinese people to eat like cold food. So for me personally, that's definitely like I love a good shala, right? But I can't eat a salad every day. I really can't eat it for lunch every single day. I need to eat like hot things, especially because I'm cold all the time. Okay. Um, all ingredients must be fully cooked before they can be consumed. Chinese eat more vegetables than meat. In fact, they eat about 600 kinds of vegetables. Chinese cooks can make almost any kind of ingredients into a tasty dish. 我可以, okay? I love cooking and I love baking and I love making all kinds of different foods, like not just Chinese food, but Asian foods, non-Western foods, Western foods, whatever. I mean, I love cooking and food. All right. 天气，今天天气怎么样？晴天，气温37度，真讨厌，太热了。我们一起去冲浪吧。不行，一点风都没有。那我们去游泳吧。好啊，我们几点到游泳馆？下午2点怎么样？没问题，下午2点在游泳馆见。好，哦，OK，文化复习。Weather in China. China is an enormous country with a great diversity of climates, ranging from the frosty subarctic to the steamy tropics. This unit, I know you did not learn about, and we would have learned it actually this year if we were on the Huanyin curriculum or my old curriculum. But don't worry too much, right? Because of course there are still a lot of things that you have learned. In terms of the weather, right? I know a lot of people will often ask me like, what's the weather in China? But that's like asking me what's the weather in America, right? In New Jersey alone, you can have different like weather going on within one state, right? So imagine within a whole country, it's very similar as well. I will tell you again, I have the body type of a very old person, and I think pretty much, because I did also grow up in Taiwan, I'm just personally cold all the time. But I know my family members and friends are not like that, right? So it's just everyone's different, right? So to me, right, it's pretty cold, even now. In October and November, I'm starting to get cold already. You can't tell actually, but actually you can tell. Yeah, I'm wearing a sweater actually, right? Because I'm just always cold. I would want the heater to be on now actually if I could, but I don't want to do that because it's not that bad yet. All right, Chinese New Year. 中国新年, also known as the Spring Festival, the New Year is a national holiday in China celebrated on the first day of the first month of the lunar calendar. The lunar New Year, 对不起, is also celebrated in many other Asian countries, including 新加坡, 韩国, North and South Korea, Vietnam, Yunnan, and Thailand, 泰国. Actually, many other places too, so you may be familiar as well, right? The lunar calendar. China was originally an agricultural country, and so the lunar calendar was developed in ancient times as a way to track the seasons of the year and to determine the best dates for planting and harvesting crops. Dragon Boat Festival. The annual Dragon Boat Festival falls on the 5th day of the 5th lunar month. People eat rice dumplings, 粽子, and row dragon boats. Again, we would have learned about that more actually if we have followed the old curriculum, but you can look things up on your own about these popular Chinese holidays. They're very interesting, and a lot of them are actually celebrated here in this country as well. The Chinese zodiac, 12 animals, right? 鼠牛虎兔龙蛇马羊猴鸡狗猪. In order: rat or mouse, ox or cow, tiger, bunny or rabbit, dragon, snake, horse, goat or sheep, monkey, chicken or rooster, dog, and pig. The reason I said rat or mouse, right, ox or cow is because it's the same word for us in Chinese. If I do say an ox, though, it would be 公牛. But the animal itself, right, like ox versus cow, it's actually the same character. Okay. 购物绘画. Right. So for this dialogue, 夏天要来了，我想去买衣服。你想买什么衣服？我想买一件 T 恤和一条裤子。这件白色的 T 恤好漂亮，好是好，可是400块太贵了。现在打6折，打完折以后是220块，240块，对不起。好吧，我要了。这条牛仔裤时髦吗？不好看，有点老。Again, we would have learned shopping a lot more. And if we had been able to go on to a field trip, we would actually go on the field trip in the spring, and also because I would have taught you bargaining vocabulary. Okay. Again, some of these things actually you have learned. Okay, 好 so that was it in terms of review 复习 okay 所以我们现在要暂停了 we are going to pause now okay, 啊对不起哦对不起对不起 there is one more okay I knew I skipped something okay 文化复习 cultural elements or cultural review 5 elements traditionally the Chinese thought that all things in nature were made up of 5 elements. If you have ever seen Avatar The Last Airbender or The Legend of Korra, you will notice some of those elements are very similar. Metal, white, wood, green, water, black, fire, red, and earth, yellow. 金木水火土 Chinese traditional dress. The traditional dress of the Han Chinese is called Hanfu. The main garment is a loose-fitting gown with large sleeves wrapped around the body and secured with a belt or a sash. For women, the traditional Manchu cheongsam, which I don't think I pronounced that correctly, or qipao in Mandarin, is a popular dress. I will tell you and be very honest, to me personally, if you want to wear a hanfu or qipao, right, whatever gender you are, whatever you want to do, I personally really don't get offended by it. I know a lot of times like we're living in the cancel culture right now, and people get attacked so easily for doing like the silliest and smallest things. Sometimes just because they don't know, right? They're not educated. But if you have been educated in the culture and you just want to appreciate how beautiful it is, I don't think, for me personally, that it is cultural appropriation if you are wearing a qipao, right, to prom, but you're not Asian or you're not Chinese. I do think it is cultural appropriation. That's why it's always very dangerous and there's a fine line. If you're ever not sure, let me know or don't do it, right? But in terms of like for prom, right? If we have prom and you want to wear a qipao, that traditional Chinese outfit, and you want to celebrate the culture because you love it and appreciate it, great for you. But for me, right, it would be something like cultural appropriation if you're putting chopsticks in your hair and, if you do things like this, right, that is very, very racist. It's not even just like a microaggression by that point. That's just rude and disrespectful to my culture, right? But if you want to appreciate a whole other culture because you have learned about it, I feel like personally to me, you do you, right? You can celebrate, about this culture and this language that you have been learning about because it is a beautiful language and culture. Um, but of course, right, you have to be careful, I guess, now. So, just like with anything that you say or do, just be careful what you post and what you say, right? All right, moving on, continuing. Chinese and American sizes. Clothing sizes in China are measured in centimeters with a 2 centimeter margin for error. For example, a pair of men's pants with the label 180, right, 180或是100 means that it is suitable for men from 178 centimeters to 182 centimeters tall with a waistline between 98 centimeters to 102 centimeters. What you need to know is this, and I would have emphasized it during the shopping unit, is we are all very, very skinny in American culture. I think actually most of us, right, if not all of us, um, in especially in modern American culture recently, right? I know that body image is talked about a lot and being body positive. You can come in any shape and size, right? It doesn't matter as long as you are healthy, right? You can be, whatever you want to be and you can eat whatever you want, but you need to be healthy, right? So, if you want to eat that fry, you want to eat that chip, go for it, do it, right? YOLO. But you do need to be healthy, right? So you shouldn't eat, like 10 packs of nuggets every single day, right? Obviously, that's not a healthy and sustainable diet. You need to take care of yourself physically and mentally. I will say for sure that in Asian cultures, especially Chinese cultures, and because that's what I'm used to, most people are still very, very conscious of their body images, and most people, I mean, to me, are just way too skinny. Okay, like I'm considered like a large or extra large in Asian countries, but I know I'm not, right? Especially here, actually, right here I'm like medium or small sometimes. So, you know, again, whatever shape and size you want to come in, great for you, as long as you are healthy. Okay. Last but not least, the story of silk. Silk textiles are woven from the protein fibers extracted from the cocoons of silkworm larvae. Silk is not only warm, but also soft to the touch and give off a pearlescent shine. Okay. 好, so I'm ending right on time with the review. So that was all, 那全部是复习. That was all review with sprinkling